Battlebit Remastered is by far one of 2022's most exciting first-person shooters. After seeing the disappointing release of Battlefield 2042, it's refreshing to see a new shooter put the priority on gameplay first while making it easy to run with simple graphics. Now, it's been a few months since my last update video on Battlebit Remastered, so today we're covering the 10 new things you need to know about what's happening with this game, the 10 things that will make it huge. As mentioned in that April developer blog, Battlebit Remastered is still planning to enter early access sometime in 2022. Currently, there are only 3 developers working on this game, and they want to make sure that the game is truly ready for launch instead of rushing it, and as we've seen with Battlefield 2042, a botched launch is disastrous. The way they're avoiding this is by continuous updates and development, but also via regular playtests and stress tests to gain valuable information, so let's talk about those. Over the last few months, there has been a huge amount of updates, bug fixes, performance improvements, and so on, and this all needs to be tested, hence the playtests. Playtests were originally here and there, but they have happened extremely frequently since April, almost daily, and this has had a significant effect on development progress, which is amazing. With that said though, a significant part of any game rollout is the servers, and that's where the stress tests come in. Stress tests are a different beast, putting servers to the test to see if they can support a huge amount of players. In late April, there was one of these tests, and as we've covered previously, a huge 480 gigabit DDoS attack absolutely crippled the game. Fast forward now to July, and there has been 2 stress tests within the first 10 days and another planned for the 16th. With that said, they hit 17,000 concurrent players on the July 9th test, and the servers remain stable, which is awesome. While these are cap capacity tests, the success of these will lead on to larger playtests in the future, which we love to see, and hopefully multi-day playtests. Since I first recorded this video, the July 16th stress test actually happened. Given the very late start for Australians, I wasn't able to play or get footage, however according to the players and the developers, it went really well. One thing I have to say before getting into the test, and that's the huge availability of servers in different regions. In this test, they brought in Brazilian servers, they brought in more Australian and Asian servers in the previous test, and overall that's awesome to see they're supporting lots of regions. Now in regards to the July 16th test, they said the following: they didn't have any backend issues at all on the servers. They were DDoSed on the European servers at the time when they started the playtest. There's still heaps of work on the maps to go and improve them. The reporting system also needs a lot of work. People were just playing really well, were getting timed out way too much because they had so many reports from people thinking they were hacking. Now in terms of player peaks, we're going higher and higher. 20,375 players joined for this test, which is insane. With these tests, it really shows Battlebit is going to be a really big play in the FPS market when it comes out, not only for the players, but also for content creation. With all of that said, the next playtest is in 2 weeks on July the 30th, so get hyped. In the previous playtest and stress test, there has been a big focus on the 127 vs 127 matches, so 254 players total, which is insane. Now to be fair, I get the focus as it's a really big part of Battlebit, a really big drawing card, and will probably be the main mode people will play. Now the upcoming test will still be on this mode only. The developers have stated they intend to host 64 vs 64 and 32 vs 32, but basically not all of the maps are ready to be playable for those player sizes, so they continue to work with the community via additional testing to improve those experiences. A really cool feature the developers have been working on is server scaling, which the devs say is one of the most important things they have to get right before early access. Basically, this is a system that can dynamically open and close servers depending on demand, and as such a small team, they can't afford to just keep heaps of servers live if nobody is using them. This has gone through quite a few iterations, but in its current state, it's working out quite well, with lead dev Sergeant Okidoki saying that the server scaling is working quite well, and he said that about the June 5th playtest, which is really great to hear. As an avid fan of first-person shooters, I know that one of the hardest things to get right is weapon balance. This is particularly so for a game like Battlebit, which features close, medium, long, and extreme range battles across a variety of weapon types, and it also has vehicles. Balancing all of this is understandably incredibly hard, and the dev team for Battlebit has reached out to the community for some feedback. In this case, they're asking specifically about weapon damage at long range, which might not seem like a big issue, but there is a point to be concerned. The developers have brought up the following points. Battlebit Remastered is a game that has incredibly simple graphics, which makes it easier to spot players than most other games. Like Krunker, Battlebit has blocky characters which results in much larger hitboxes, making it easier for people to hit you. Battlebit also has very low bullet drop, very accurate weapons being most assault rifles, very low damage drop off over long distances, and a chaotic environment with so many angles to look for. So the problem is staring right at us. Assault rifles, DMRs, they are way too good at long distance, and sniper rifles, why even use them? So how do we go and make it harder to kill enemies over these longer distances? The developers brought up a ton of possible options, changing the graphics, changing the character design, increasing bullet drop, increasing recoil, less accurate weapons and so on. But all of these suggestions, in my opinion, are terrible, and the developers agree. Their solution, which they say is the only possible one, is to decrease damage over distance except for snipers, which makes sense given they're made for long range. I think this is a perfectly acceptable change. Killing people very quickly with an assault rifle at very long ranges is fun if you're the one firing the gun, but it's really not enjoyable if you're the one receiving the bullets. This should balance out the weapon types, leaving snipers for the super long range, assault rifles as an all-rounder, and so on, which overall would be a good thing. Now, a simple upvote and downvote was included on the post, and from what we can see, the community is overwhelmingly positive about this change as it has a huge amount of upvotes. One of the biggest things to take away from this video is how polished Battlebit Remastered already is. In late May, Sergeant Okidoki stated the following: "Most of the game's bugs should be sorted and fixed. We don't have many major bugs to fix anymore, most of them are small bugs, polishing stuff or balancing." This is absolutely awesome to hear, and it was such a small part of one of their Discord posts, but this is really important. We know the core functionality of Battlebit Remastered is rock solid, and now the bugs are mostly ironed out, so now it's new functionality on top of new functionality, which is great. This adds a huge amount of content to the game and will make it really possible to go toe-to-toe with the AAA giants in Battlefield and the such. This game has always been fantastic with its core gameplay, however content-wise it does have a decent amount, but nothing compared to AAA studios pumping a lot of time and effort into it. These guys now can focus directly on that, and that is fantastic. Another feature that will be in the coming test is the map survey feature, which is pretty cool. Basically, you can go and vote very quickly, yes, no, good, bad on certain features on the current maps, and that will go and give a direct feed to the developers that give them some really good feedback to help improve the game before it goes into early access. I do admit that despite being a big fan of Battlebit and what the team is doing, it is frustrating not having a clear idea of when we'll be able to get our hands on this game again. I guess it's just a different ethos to development than what we're used to from AAA studios. Normally it's announce a date, go and crunch to meet it, and then release the game regardless of its state. Here, it's very steady progress towards a stable launch, and the developers reiterated in their latest blog post exactly that, saying rest assured we want to get the game back in your hands, just as much as you do. That is why we are dedicated getting the game into the most stable state as possible before launching, as it will be our largest, most difficult challenge. It's hard to strike a fair balance, too many and it goes and gives a very raw and very unfiltered experience to the public, which you don't really want, but too few and the community gets a little bit uptight being like, hey, I actually want to play this game. In the past, I think it's strayed a little bit towards the, hey, we haven't got enough, but now with more stress tests coming in with different time zones, I feel like more and more we're going to get more hands-on time with this game, which is fantastic, and hopefully sometime in the future we'll go and get that multi-day test that we're all looking for. Simply, Battlebit Remastered is in a great state and is growing rapidly day by day. I'm super excited for this game and hopefully you guys are too. Tell me if you are in the comments section below.